Anette, we are going live, so you may start in 10 seconds.
Okay. Are you giving me a signal?
You can start now.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, everybody, and very warm welcome to our second session of the third day of the Nextv series. And it's our fourth panel about strategic insights, this time with the focus on CEE Broadcasters. I would like to introduce you to the panelists. We have a very great panel this morning again. We are joined by Judit Grósz, a Director of Digital and Business Development working for RTL in Hungary. Natalija Gorscak, Director of TV for RTV in Slovenia. Jan Vlcek, General Director TV Nova, and he's based in Czech Republic. Matthias Settele, General Director of TV Markiza in Slovakia. And last but not least, Chris Moore, he's the Sales Director for Brightcove in Europe. So welcome. And before we start, I think I would like to go to a round of introductions so that the audience understands a little bit better what actually you're doing in the organizations, what's your role, and what you're focusing on. Judith, would you like to start?
Sure. Hello, everyone. I'm Judit Grósz, as was mentioned, working for RTL Hungary for almost 3 years. Before I was in Microsoft for 6 years. Now I'm responsible for the digital portfolio within RTL Hungary, which contains a VOD platform, which has an AVOD and a premium version, website and applications.
Natalija, will I go next?
I'm Director of Public Television in Slovenia. I've been on this position for 1.5 years. During that time, my main aim was to spread our content to the new platforms in the way that they come very close to the audience, not just to be there and just hang around. Before I worked on commercial television in Slovenia, I worked at the Eurovision, I worked in the newspapers. So basically all my life was dedicated to different media with the start on radio.
Chris, I'm going to go next. Thank you.
Hi there, my name's Chris Moore. I'm a sales director with Brightcove, and Brightcove's the world's largest private OVP. We're a public company, but we're definitely the largest media online video platform. Excuse me, and we work with some of the world's largest media brands and regional broadcasters to, I guess, facilitate the shift from traditional delivery over to digital platforms.
Thank you. Jan?
Hi, I joined TV Nova about 9 years ago as a sales director. In my current GD position, I've been just over 1 year. I've kept my close focus on sales across both television and also digital online. We do a lot, and we try to do more and more in terms of video content, not only for TV but also native digital content. So this topic is quite hot for us.
Thank you. Last but not least, Matthias.
Hello from Bratislava. I'm the General Director for Markiza since 7 years. We have 3 TV channels. We have, of course, websites and apps. And yesterday night, just for this conference, no joke, we relaunched our streaming service Voyo. It's a SVOD service, and it's now completely technically revamped and state of the art. So we are also, like our colleagues in Czech, focusing on TV, but exploring all the other streaming, online, mobile activities, because this is one part of our future.
Thank you very much. So I think you all have one thing, one topic in common. So pushing broadcast content or pushing your services to OTT and other digital platforms. So I think one of the questions is, and I think that we heard that also the last 3 days already from numerous panelists and people joining the discussion here. how much has the COVID crisis impacted your business, and how has it impacted your businesses, especially, I guess, pushing and forcing the move to OTT and to digital. I think we had some very interesting insights, which you shared with me already prior to this panel, and I think the audience will be really interested in hearing what happened in the last 4, 5, 6 months, and how you maybe changed or adjusted your business to the current situation. Who want to go first and talk a little bit about this? Natalija, probably.
For us, the COVID crisis was a big challenge and, of course, some opportunity. And what we, as public broadcaster, we realized that our main topic should be children and youngsters, because this is the generation which somehow in the last few years we were not taking into consideration so much as the older generation. So immediately we started with a special live program on TV, but went online with a special project, in fact, with a certain sort of a OTT channel, school TV, for the primary and for the secondary school. And for the primary school, we used all the possible archives we had. We've taken out pieces of programs we produced recently, and of course we started to produce programs we didn't have in our archives, of course, because the curriculum on online platform was the same as the curriculum in school. So our platform was mostly used by teachers, by schooling population, and we came into we became more important for the children who go to school and for the teachers than their own platform, because we offered so many more interesting stuff. Of course, what we did along that, we did a lot of work on the social channels, and we also did a very good live TV program. Basically, the very good everyday live TV program was the base of the very good school TV. And we also acquired some rights for the foreign documentaries, which were put online for the generation in the secondary school. So main work was done for this schooling population, but otherwise, of course, in the news program, we added some extra online services, data checking, because there were so many fake news online. We were checking fake news, of course, and we were given some data from the hospitals and from the government regarding the COVID crisis, but we checked all that in the big context of the European crisis, and then of the world crisis. So for the generation older than 18 years, we were offering mainly information and of course entertainment, which was quite difficult to produce. But as we had quiz shows before, we somehow adapted them to the new time. And of course, we also added some new music shows, which were produced together with the radio. In fact, the radio was the main base for the music program, and we were just airing and doing some other graphics and stuff which are normal for the modern TV. So this was basically the school project has brought us a lot of young generation, of course, the parents of the children. So our reach this year, from March to now, it's 98% of the population which watches TV. So we think it's one of the best results we had lately. And of course, our TV platform has become very well viewed and has become like a normal channel for people, because before they were more attached to the commercial TV, to the Voyo, like in Markiza, our commercial competitor has a Voyo platform for years and it's very successful. But now we are kind of in a good competition because our platform, of course, is for free.
Okay, that's very interesting. I mean, you touched a lot of points. I mean, changing the audience, shifting to younger audiences, changing the programming for catering to these different audiences, from this educational programming that you mentioned, but also the spectrum of music, and so reaching out younger viewers. So what happened in the other markets? I mean, have you also seen some major shift in the programming or target audiences that you addressed? Who wants to talk about it?
Yeah, I can go ahead for the Czech Republic. Yeah, definitely. We've seen some significant shifts, and one can look at it as good opportunities for us to take advantage of. For instance, our paid SVOD OTT service Voyo that we just mentioned in Slovenia. We have the same in Czech Republic. That's gone up by 50% in terms of subscriber base. So that was a hint for us that we need to think harder about how we innovate, how we put new programming on there, how we perhaps give the subscribers a chance to see more exclusive TV stuff in previews and things like that. So that was one side of things, and obviously it was clear that whilst in home, even the younger targets prefer to watch content on the big screen, even if it's an OTT service. Still, they like to watch it, prefer to watch it on the big screen. So that gives a clear indication that the quality of experience is key in any case. And programming wise, when the COVID crisis kicked in, it was clear that the interest for the regular programming has gone down, even though the ratings overall were higher. But it was clear that we needed to change what we're actually offering to our viewers. So we switched to a very topical kinds of programming, basically updating the viewers on the development in different sectors or sections of society, how people or segments of society are coping with the situation, who's doing what, etc. So somehow give the nation a little bit of a air to breathe about how the others are doing, and how it can be actually made possible to get through that difficult period. But this sentiment faded away very quickly. I would say within 4 to 6 weeks, people already wanted to go back to having more of a traditional entertainment, and didn't want to get bogged down in that semi-negative and frightening topic of the lockdowns and COVID and things like that. So we try to go back to more regular entertainment programming as quickly as possible. Obviously, we faced issues with production, where production got delayed many times because of various people getting sick or being quarantined. So that's probably something that most of the other markets have experienced. But the interesting thing was also the demand on the market, which went down. I mean, the advertising demand that went down dramatically in April.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't want to interrupt you, but there's a bit of an echo on your voice.
Is there? Yeah, I hear somebody talking. Yeah, somebody's probably not on mute who should be on mute. It's better now.
Seems better
Can
now?
you hear me well now?
Yeah, it's better. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry for interrupting you.
Yeah, that's fine. In terms of advertising demand, as I said, it went down dramatically in April and May. But then even the advertisers realized that they cannot deny the fact that life is going to come back to normal, and they picked up pretty quickly. And what's interesting to see now, when we compare the fall wave and the spring wave, that the dip in demand now in the fall wave is much shallower than the spring one. Obviously, the advertisers have learned to live with the situation. They've rearranged their businesses as much as possible at least stay afloat and get ready for the Christmas season. So I would evaluate both the demand side of our business and also the programming side of our business as positive, because we learned a lot, and we suffered to some extent, but overall, if we look at the entire year, I don't think we will end up suffering so badly, even financially, in the end.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. I think it's what we have seen throughout all the panels over the last days is that many see the telecom operators as well as the broadcasters and in general the video industry benefiting from the crisis. But it's interesting to hear how you differently adjusted to the challenges. So more programming, more distribution, even that your traditional business models a little bit eroding. We just from Jan heard about the advertisers. I think that was the case throughout Europe, but now I think it's coming back. So Judit or Matthias, what happened in your markets and how you responded to that, to the crisis?
Pretty similarly, we had some difficulties, like what it was mentioned before, like the ad revenue significantly decreased. Also, the content availability, we had some issues with, what was mentioned by Jan already. The production had needed to stop in some cases because of the virus and the situation. But I would more highlight on the ability to adapt. I think it's a big lesson to all of us, and I believe most of us, ended up pretty well in that terms. And just to mention a couple of things. For example, in terms of content producing, we, for example, as many of us, adapted very quickly, and we created, some quarantine shows. Some were really so successful that, the license were sold to different countries, for example, outside of Hungary. And that was, again, a very quick reaction to the need and also to the problems of the production. Or audience share increased for all of us, so the significance of TV as such, has increased within this time, and also the digital demand, which was also mentioned by Jan and Natalija. And one thing which weren't mentioned, but I would really highlight is the operational excellence. Actually, I think we all need to understand, the need of digitalization, and within that crisis, I believe in 1 week the whole company was home except for the production, which nobody would think, before that it's doable. So I think we need to look a little bit of the bright side, what we learned out of this crisis. Obviously, that's not over, and it's yet very difficult, not only for broadcasters, but for everyone. But I think we adapted quite well.
Yeah, you adapted quite well, and I think you adjusted quite well. And I think it's amazing that you were able to produce, and so keeping up with that, especially creating with a different market. Matthias, what was your experience throughout the last couple of months? What changed in your business, or what's changed in your operations?
I think we had a drop in Q2 like everyone, but on full year basis, we have less than 5% decline. So we are lucky that from summer on, economy came back, and that is not such a big problem. I mean, for me, it's important that we still focus on the program content, and I want to share one example. We have one daily soap. It's called Odetskovia, The Daddies. It's based on an Argentinian telenovela with very young demographics for daddies meet in the kindergarten, and it's about family life. And we have around 500,000 people watching on TV. Yesterday was 480,000, which is really a huge success on daily. But on top of that, around 500,000 watch per week online on our free video archive. So 20% on top watch in free video archive, and another 20% you have views on YouTube and on the websites. And around 5% per episode, around 25,000 watch on the paid service, Voyo, 1 day before. So you can see you need these program hits also in digital or in streaming to make to move the needle, because these formats are over average. And if you are lucky to have one with young demographics, it can work on all the media, on TV, online, streaming. And this is our job also, to create these special programs which are above the normal, which can trigger new business, which can trigger new fans, which can trigger the next generation. And I think we were lucky to have this example. And now we learn from it, you know, what it really means if you have some young format, which is also in classic linear and digital. And this is what we all are looking for.
We're catering to different channels, but reaching the same or different audiences. So Chris, you probably have seen a lot from your customers, the changes or the requirements have maybe changed for you as a vendor in this industry, and helping them to move their programming or moving their content online. What's your take from recent months?
Yeah, that's right. And I mean, Brightcove, I guess in many cases are the delivery partner for a lot of the video that gets served on over-the-top platforms or complementary services to traditional offerings from regional broadcasters. Certainly at the outset of the crisis, we saw our experience mirrored what everybody else on the panel today has said, is that we saw a fair amount of, if panic, but concern. And then, you know, in a real sort of drop in advertising revenue, or expected drop in advertising revenue, which obviously is concerning for broadcasters who primarily fund their businesses on advertising. So the good thing was that we also saw a massive increase in video consumption. So in Europe, we saw a 52% increase in Q2 of 2020 of consumption of video. And those stats are mirrored across all of around the world, and device consumption all around the world has ramped. So I think the ability of broadcasters to be able to, I guess, not just from a content perspective, but from a technology perspective, shift approach will be putting people in the best stead to be able to sort of ride out these, I guess, funding and revenue challenges as the advertising world, and in particular bricks and mortar retail, who are traditionally you know, largely involved in these kinds of advertising buying cycles, respond to the crisis. But things are recovering, which is really good. And you know, as the world embraces you know, staying at home, I think we're in a fairly good position to be able to not pivot. I mean, we use that word a lot, but to be able to perhaps accelerate some of the initiatives that were sort of on the back burner before this crisis happened. And we're seeing now towards the end of the year as a business that we're, you know, quite busy, which is good for us, but also it means that our partners, particularly on the front end side of the business, where we assist sort of organizations to build out their sort of app and mobile strategies, and TV everywhere, connected TV deployments is really starting to increase. And we're seeing a lot of players entering the market, not just from the broadcast side, but where you know, a content owner, perhaps a boutique film house, long tail sports content owners, perhaps, who are trying to get a slice of the pie of unique content.
Yeah. So going direct, so more and more players in the market. But I think you all made the point about the advertisers. Usually you would think that with the increase of video consumption that the advertisers will follow these eyeballs, right? I understand the impact on the one hand that people probably shifting their buying behavior and consuming behaviors, right? So but a lot of the advertisers also benefited from it, especially on retail and so groceries and others. But I think what initially what everybody said, I think throughout the last 3 days, is there is a certain push to digital and into OTT platforms now, and I think that will even maybe get your traditional business models back on track, but also it allows you to embrace new business models where you not only be an advertising funded program, but you can go direct and maybe have incremental subscription fees or try other things. And I think that would be also interesting for the audience to hear. What do you think from a business standpoint that will change your business model? I mean, if you're public broadcaster, you're probably limited to that in many countries, but in general, do you think it will also shift not only the technology or push the technology, but also will shift the business models or the flow of funds? So where money is being spent? Question to the audience. That you could think about shifting your business models, or that you try new things in around digital without, I mean, not only focusing on advertising, for example.
Yeah, well, I can pick up on this, but I'm just going to draw on what I said earlier on. We saw a clear shift towards our paid service, and that's actually that presented some opportunities that we already began exploiting. So definitely, what you're saying is so natural, and it's basically being served to us. It's there to be taken, and just use the opportunities to learn from them and expand not only the business model, but also expand the offering, the content offering on these platforms that we may have been under focusing on in the past.
Yeah, we've seen
yeah, sure.
We've seen a huge ramp in customers inquiring and taking up our TV everywhere and connected TV and cross-platform sort of front-end application kit kind of thing that we sell. It just exploded because I think it really pushed people that were kind of thinking about these types of solutions, particularly, I mean, AVOD and advertising for, in particular, long-form content is kind of challenging sometimes because of the way the technology works and the experience for the customer. And it's getting to a point where some of these services, particularly, these more templated applications similar to the way Brightcove deploys them, are becoming more cost-effective so that people can set up their own sort of subscription VOD services at a price point and I guess a quality that's enables them to go to market quickly, and COVID probably pushed them to do that.
And have you seen a change in the audiences? I mean, the appetite to pay for things, or I mean, the consumption is going up. People spending more hours in front of a screen. It doesn't have to be a TV screen, but in front of the screen. So willingness to pay, or also is that increasing, or is it rather saying people have expected a crisis that they've been catered to on multi-screen, but under the same sort of business models? Have you seen any changes in that regard?
It's pretty early. In just going back to what my kind of last comment, a lot of those services are just starting to come online now. I think we wouldn't sort of see or understand those data points until we publish a video index every quarter, which looks at usage trends around the world, which is a very high quality publication. Actually, it's well regarded in the industry and has a lot of really interesting insights. Brightcove serves so much of the world's video. We account for about 2% of the downstream internet. So as a data source or source of data points in aggregate, there's a real wealth of information in there. But I think we'll see those services who we're just finishing them now. We just starting to put them into production, and they're starting to activate. A lot of them aren't regional broadcasters. We get people who want to tell you how to make pottery or things like that. But there is definitely a shift from, what I'm saying is these platforms are becoming more and more accessible. And where before, I think the challenge from a broadcast perspective was maybe the Amazons of the world, the Netflix as well, and which is an ever-present challenge, and that's still present, is that there is the ability for everybody to get involved now. So it's a really good time to ensure that your strategy in place is right for your audience, and that as the panel members have said, that you're taking things into account as you move ahead and make the right decisions from a deployment perspective on how you manage usership and accessibility of your platforms.
Okay.
I mean, we've been online for 10 years now, more than 10 years. So I mean, digital is a must already. So we have to be where the viewers want to watch our content. There's no question. But I think the single one most important KPI for digital service is actually scale. So what will change, what can change, and we are relatively smaller countries being represented here today, that we need scale. And that's why we choose a business model which is a little bit different than usual. It's a so-called B2B2C model, when we are when we are working together, we are cooperating with the operators, and we are offering a VOD service, a premium VOD service for the Hungarian operators who are offering TV services. And since TV as such, you know, the need for content, for long form content has increased, it looks like a very good cooperation for all of us. We can reach, you know, a much higher penetration within the country with our services, and then they can offer everything to the customers what they need on any, you know, screen and thing what they want.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Some other experiences that changed business models or willing to pay. What happened in Slovakia?
I think it's quantity is of course one way, but the other is also the quality. We always say we sell premium video because of course in online you compete with YouTube and Google who have much lower prices than we have, and in streaming you are with Netflix and Amazon. So we are suddenly in the position to compete with worldwide players, and then we must think, how is it going forward? You know, there could be regional or pan-regional platforms where competitors join together in the streaming market, and the same happens online. You know, the agencies, they make buying tools and programmatic advertising, and you know, they are increasing the scale, but we as a media houses, we could also do the same. So it is very tough competition, and we must find the answers in both directions, in the quantity but also in the quality targeting, to find the right target groups and keep the prices up for certain things. Otherwise we will not survive only on the price and discount war. So our productions, our content, our environments must have some value which we can advertise. And the last thing, but it must also be measured. You know, you need the measurement in TV and digital, and you need the correct data which you can sell and which is accepted in the market to be commercialized. And this all goes together, what I described. So it's all happening in parallel, and this makes it a bit challenging for each of us.
I think that's a very valid point, Matthias. You have the changes of the audience measurement systems is also something that is really on the brinks. I mean, many countries are reviewing that currently because you want to have multi-screen, and you have to have not only C3 and C6, you have to have the full spectrum on that. And I think that is also one of the challenges for broadcasters, making sure they're staying state of the art and they can compete with the other video platforms. But I think what you all mentioned is that also the content has changed, or the importance of not only the global or international content, but also the importance of multinational, transnational content or regional content. And I think it would be very interesting to hear for the audience, what have you done? I mean, we heard from Natalija already, so you started in this educational program, music, but actually what means that maybe for next year, with given also the factor that you're limited in producing content because of the COVID situation, and shooting movies or making series is not an easy one right now. But the question is really, what do you think, will it have an impact on your programming or partnering in the programming, or what are your thoughts about this?
I believe local content is the king in terms of, you know, like local broadcasters. We see it in the numbers, you know, like most our VOD platform offering is mainly local content. In the top 10 content list, it's always like 95%, you know, what we produce locally. So that's an answer to the quality question also, and that's also, you know, shows the interest in local content. And I think this is what we're going to continue over the next year. There's no change with that.
In the Czech Republic, what we see quite clearly that for the digital platforms, it's content that's exclusive, that's somehow superior, whether it is previews of big TV shows or exclusive sporting events. In traditional TV, it is the hit shows. That's quite clear, and it's local programming. What's I would say specific to the Czech Republic and the Slovak Republic is that we have opportunities to co-produce certain shows together because of the language proximity. So we try to exploit that also to make shows bigger, more cosmopolitan, more interesting. But that's, I guess, that's a specificity to our two markets only.
Okay.
I can only subscribe. The local content is very important. We have from 2 o'clock till midnight only local content, but of course it's changing. We have the co-production with the Czech colleagues. We have, and also the formats. You know, our daily soap comes from Argentina. We have one series which is based from a Finnish about a hospital drama. One, the teacher is coming from Germany. We have Russian telenovela. So we are taking the best concepts from the world and adapting them. And it can be co-production, it can be licensing. I mean, even one local series which we invented is broadcasted in Judit's channel by Club Settele in Hungary, the little village, which is very successful, but they made their own version. So I think also the European broadcasters must learn to cooperate and exchange, because you have Korean shows like Max Singer and The Good Doctor, which is originally a Korean series. So you must check the entire portfolio and then draw the conclusion, but localize again. That's very important. So our hospital drama series looks different than the Finnish, which is very, let's say, dark and depressive, a lot of drugs and sex. And we do it in a little bit different way, but both productions are greatly done. So there is the quality here, but it's local content. But where the ideas come from, no one cares, from the viewers and the makers. So we must find our way to cooperate on different levels to go to the next level in our productions.
Also, we have a couple of questions from the audience running into the last 50 minutes of the session. Then I wanted to tell you there's 2 questions around AVOD that the audience is interested in. And there's one question regarding is AVOD devaluing the content in the eye of the subscriber? So the hypothesis that the question is following, say, I'm afraid subscribers are going to get used to consuming free content. So that's the one question about advertisers and how do you choose advertisers, AVOD partners. I don't know who exactly has an AVOD offering from you as a service, but is there anybody from the panel who can elaborate on what are the main aspects of selecting an AVOD or an advertiser as a partner for content?
I can speak to the...
Go ahead.
I can speak to the importance of making sure it's a really high quality advertising service. So it's really damaging if you do advertising badly. So if you're impacting the customer experience by putting them through, you know, low quality inventory that isn't matched to the primary content, too much advertising, etc., etc. And it's interesting to mentioning free content. It's not actually free. You're advertising funding it. So ensuring that that experience is, you know, passes muster or is passable for the viewer, and you know, making it a high quality experience is you know, not so damaging. And obviously there are you may not want to go with a pure play advertising funded strategy. There are, you know, options for a freemium type service where some content is free and advertising funded, and then the other is gated, etc. There's lots of options for that, and I would suggest, you know, doing a market scan and having a look at what's going to work best for you from a technology perspective for the ad delivery, but also the quality of the inventory is actually really important. And there's a series of partners in the background that you need to ensure are in place to make sure that the inventory you're receiving is both of a requisite value to be able to contribute to the bottom line of the business, so that it's well-funded inventory and that it's high quality inventory as well.
We have an AVOD and a premium VOD subscription service. Those are, you know, like sort of like working together. I can compare it to the very successful Peacock model from Comcast in the USA, we are doing pretty much the same. It's, as it was mentioned, it's something like the freemium model. So we have a limited inventory on the AVOD part, but we can leverage on the awareness, and we can leverage on the scale for advertisement. And then we have a premium service which we are offering to operators, and this premium service has digital exclusive contents, digital first content, much wider library, better quality, etc. We have more functionalities, like for example, Chromecast is available on that level on that premium service. We have live channels, which is a great differentiator, by the way, for broadcasters on VOD services. So we have live channels on the premium service only. So we make a great differentiation between the two, but both can ensure that we have, again, enough scale, awareness, and visibility within a relatively small country.
Any thoughts from the other panelists about the advertising role and the advertising helping? I mean, you already said that during the crisis, you had as advertising revenue, and then all of a sudden you're starting the on-demand services, or as Judit.
Well, in the Czech Republic, we run both an SVOD and an AVOD service. The SVOD service, in terms of scale, is still relatively marginal. So the AVOD gives us the reach, the mass. The SVOD gives us the opportunity to develop the market into increasing revenues as we educate the individual segments to switch from AVOD to SVOD in the future. I mean, as far as compromising or the effect on the quality perception of the programming, basically our AVOD service is a catch-up service for our TV programming. So that ensures in itself top quality. And how we monetize our AVOD service is the price in terms of CPT is a multiple of the price that's generated by our TV sales. So even on the advertiser quality, if you like, side of things, there's no risk that will be somehow polluting the screen with something that would give out a wrong impression.
Yeah. Yes.
We have the same system. So we have the paid service where you have in advance and exclusive content, and you have the free 7 days catch up, and both work together well. And in the end, you need the hit content, because if you have some great show, the people will find it mobile, they will go to their Instagram, they will share the content, they will go to your YouTube, they will rewatch the content over and over, and they will maybe pay the subscription to see it 1 week or 1 day earlier. And without the triggers, some hits which are above average, which are talk of the town, these help us to change the system and to monetize. And if you have to have, but then you see immediately, if their content is interesting, the people will find immediately, will share it, will be pirates, will hack it, will distribute it. So you can see what is copied, what is immediately asked, what they make a parody on. So then you have good stuff if people are hunting it.
I might just add that, and perhaps for the benefit of the audience that's potentially looking at funding through advertising, is that there's a few different ways to deliver the advertising. And internal content or internal inventory is at your control. So it's no different to delivering advertising from a linear perspective, whereby you have a one-to-one deal with an advertiser who buys the slots, and then you inject the advertising or repackage the advertising from the linear stream or terrestrial. And then there's services that go out to ad servers, and these are pulling inventory from these ad servers, and you have very limited control of the ad that's served. And typically speaking, regional broadcasters are not taking up a lot of this type of advertising, but there are definitely options out there for it. So if you were going to explore that sort of model, that you should be very careful, and also look at getting in a partnership with a supply side platform who can vet that content for you.
It's interesting to hear.
I think that
Go ahead, please.
I think that innovation innovation in getting to the audience is really important at the moment, because we all offered quite interesting content, but how to catch all the viewers, how to get to them, how to show them what you have, what you offer. I think this is a very key question. This is one thing, and it's really important that you can offer to the advertisers another way of advertising, meaning innovative approach, how to show, how to give them a new place in your programming, a new place in your content, so that they are visible. So I think this COVID crisis showed that we need more innovation in our approach towards the audience and towards the advertisers.
Yeah, I've been told we have only a few minutes left, so I would like to have a last quick round. What kind of challenges that you, maybe in one sentence or two, laying ahead of you, and or what something important to what you want to do next as yeah, in your business or in your programming or technology wise, or Natalija just said innovation. It's also a good topic. We have a short, quick round, and then we need, unfortunately, already wrap it up and close the session.
Well, okay, I'll be very quick. Longer term, we need to figure out what to do with our digital side of things. You know, how we push forward the SWOT service, and how we get to producing a top-notch video content that would be digitally native. Short term, our challenge is how to convince the advertisers that 2021 is not going to be that much of an issue, and that they should not be too careful about committing volumes for next year.
Thank you. Who wants to go next? Judit?
Yeah, if it's one thing, I would mention data. I think we need to get, you know, on top of, you know, data-enabled services which can change the industry, which can serve, you know, like the content, the advertisers, as it was mentioned. So we can totally recreate, you know, this this industry with the help of data and technology, and I think we are about to do it.
Yeah. Matthias? Very good point.
So I subscribe what Jan and Judith said, and want to add, streaming is of course important to find good cooperation in content and in distribution, to make sure that we can compete with Netflix, Amazon, and all the others who will come, that we have a strong offer also in our markets there for good quality content on the subscription base.
Natalija?
Well, we as I think public service in all Europe has a big challenge in front of it, because we are all getting new and new barriers in our work. In more and more politics wants to be a big influence on our work. So this is, for at the moment, I think one of the biggest challenges for the public service is just to survive in this new area, and to keep the another side of programming, because I think every media space in every country needs to have a big balance between a very good commercially driven programming, so popular, you know, audience raising, and a little bit on the other side, a public service, a little bit like old-fashioned, a little bit artistic program with a lot of information. So, and the good balance of it gives a new push to the media space. But I think this is a big challenge. Year 2021 will be one of the toughest years for all the public broadcasters in Europe, not only for us, especially for us who are from the small countries. I think it's really difficult, and especially from CEE countries and Southern Europe countries.
Thank you, Natalija. Chris, you want to wrap it up with your thoughts from a vendor perspective?
Yeah, sure. I mean, from a Brightcove perspective, a lot of our strategy is around supporting regional broadcasters to deliver platforms that do compete with, you know, platforms like Netflix and Amazon, and bring them to a price point and that enables them to be feasible at scale. So we continue to innovate in that space, and you know, we're productizing now around, you know, making it really quick and easy for content owners to publish across, you know, every imaginable device and continue to support them into the future. So it's a big part of our strategy for supporting regional broadcast.
So thank you, everybody. I'm telling we have 1 minute left, so I'm forced to wrap it up. Thank you very much, Chris, Natalija, Jan, Matthias, and Judit for joining this panel and making a very great discussion. As usual, we need only to drop out, so there's no official ending here. Thank you, and again, and hope to talk to you soon, and you will enjoy the rest of the Nextv series, the session as we follow these. Thank you.
Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Have a great day. Thank you.